Everybody, it's Ann Kaplan from Mom Me, your mama resource from conception to college. Wherever you are in your momming journey, we are here for you. And this week, the theme in the group is neatness, or as I like to say, and the contrast, bless this mess. And what I want to talk about all week long is not just neatness or messiness or whatever, but what it signifies for us when we're kind of like really being super neat freaks and wanting everything to be super organized and exactly the way it's supposed to be. That neatness isn't just about neatness, and we're going to talk about that today. So that is why I said for this video, why your messy house is actually a mom win. So if you read the blog post this week, you already know a little bit about me. I used to be obsessed with keeping my house super clean. I am not exaggerating, and if my friends from 10 years ago or 15 years ago want to chime in to validate what I'm saying, I used to mop, sweep, and vacuum my house every day. Every day. I'm not exaggerating to say that. Every single day I used to clean my house like that. And everything had a place to be, and I hate clutter. I just would not have anything where it did not belong. And the feeling of satisfaction that I would get when everything was in its place and everything had a place to be in, it's like getting a massage from the inside. It felt so good. It was like practically orgasmic, the feeling of having my house clean. And don't get me wrong, I still like having everything neat and orderly, but what I want to say for you, if that's going on for you, is let's kind of bust the myth that being neat is correlated with any sort of success actually at all. It's not a win necessarily that your house is super neat or your kids are neat or your life is neat or anything is neat. Neatness and obsessing about neatness often is a huge sign to me with my clients that they are really feeling out of control in their lives, and cleaning their house or cleaning up their life, even if we're talking about in a metaphorical sense, like having everything really neat and organized in our day or at work or with our kids or their behavior or the rules of the house, all of those kinds of things are just a way for us to start feeling more in control when we're not in control or we're feeling out of control or whatever. So oftentimes my clients who are the most controlling and the most obsessive about rules, about neatness, about cleaning and all of that stuff are often my clients who are struggling the most with the feelings of out of control and chaos and pandemonium that come along just part and parcel of being a mom. So if that resonates for you, I really want you to dig deep on that because it's huge, okay? Because the truth is, when we can give up control a little bit, when we can relax a little bit about the messiness or the neatness of whether we're talking about physical stuff or conceptual stuff, like behavior, like school, like our calendar, like all of those things, the more that we can relax about those things, the ironic and just crazy way that the world works, you wind up actually feeling a lot more in control when those things happen, and the things that you've been struggling and pushing and resisting and trying to get to happen come hell or high water often fall into place so much more easily and calmly and peacefully when you're not struggling and trying and fighting and being so frustrated all the time. So today is Tuesday. It's my Mythbusters Day, and I want to just bust a few myths. The first myth that I just busted is that your neatness is actually about neatness. It's not about neatness, you guys. I promise you. And even if, like, for example, I have a client right now who, when we first met, she said, my biggest goal is to declutter our house. It's so full of crap. I can't even stand to be in my house. The second I'm in my house, I feel like it's like I'm taking a bath in bathtub full of spiders or something like that because my house is such a mess. And the more we talked, the more that I kind of got comfortable enough to call her out and say, you know what? I would love to just drop you this idea that your obsession with cleanliness and getting your house decluttered is actually not about that at all. The feelings that you have of wanting to run for the hills when you're in your house are not about your house being a mess and disorganized. It's because you feel trapped in this life that you've created for yourself as a mother. And of course, as soon as I said that, it's just waterworks. But why was I able to say that to her with such confidence? Because I've seen it over and over and over again. I'm not saying that you shouldn't clean your house. I'm not saying that being organized isn't a good thing. That's not what I'm saying. But when you feel like your biggest problem in your life is that you can't handle it when your life is disorganized or your home is disorganized or things are not neat enough, I'm very confident to say that there's something else going on underlying there. So that's myth number one. It's not about neatness. Neatness is not about neatness, okay? The second thing is that it even matters if your house is neat. It really doesn't matter if your house is neat, if your life is neat, if your schedule is neat. None of that stuff matters in the long run when it comes to your life, your relationship with your child, and all those things. Creating order and rules and organization and neatness are not the destination. They're a means to an end. So we have to have a modicum of control and organization and neatness just to be able to get from point A to point B. But point B is not the neatness. Point B is the feelings of calm and peace, the harmony that we cultivate with our children, the feeling of settled and alignment that we want to have, and the relationship that we want to have, and the harmony that we want to have in our home. That's point B. So don't put your fixation on the neatness and organization and orderliness, because that's just a tool. That's just a means to an end, you guys. And when we put all of our focus on these little things that oftentimes don't matter, we totally lose sight of what the reason why we're doing them in the first place. So that's myth number two. Myth number three is that that even anybody's house or life or anything is neat. So often we are comparing our backstage SH show to everybody else's opening night performance. Okay, so nobody's life is neat, nobody's house is neat, nobody's life is organized, none of it looks as picture perfect as you think it does. And I wish I had $1 for every client that I had the conversation with of like, why can't I seem to get my act together? It seems like all these other moms that I'm watching, they seem like they're able to do it. It's all a lie. It's all smoke and mirrors, you guys. Nobody's life is neat and orderly. I promise you. You are all just seeing the facade that we all put on to cover up the crazy pandemonium and chaos that we have behind the curtain. So don't compare yourself. Don't compare your backstage mess to somebody else's opening night performance. That's not fair on yourself, and it's not real. So I hope that these little myth-busting tips will be helpful for you in just taking a step back and shifting your mindset about neatness and orderliness and getting to the neatness stuff. And I want you to keep tuning in all week long, because I'm going to be talking about neatness all week, not just in this conceptual way. You know that on Thursdays I do my tips and tricks broadcast, and Thursday I'm going to be talking about literally how to create neatness in your life. Like I said, neatness and orderliness and organization are very, very useful tools. And just because I don't want you to be obsessing about them doesn't mean that they're not useful things to have in your life. And we will be talking about that on Thursday. And tomorrow is my baby mama day. We're going to be talking about your nice, neat, and orderly birth plan that is garbage and you should throw in the garbage can. So keep tuning in all week long. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing week. I'll talk to you again soon.